Star Wars Unlimited enthusiasts, welcome back to another fun video where we're taking Avar Force Yellow for a spin. More importantly, the 4th place deck from the Deluxe Sector Cup London held in the UK. And this one caught my eye mainly because it's Avar. Avar is one of those leaders that's kind of interesting. She's definitely the most interesting leader out of LOF. Action, the force is with you, so basically you just create the force. Then she has the most unique flip, probably of any one of the leaders we've had so far out of all of Star Wars Unlimited. We've had different leaders that can do different things. For instance, we've got how Trench flips, where you just mill top 4 cards of your deck. We have how Bail Organa flips. We have the new Grogu that got revealed just a while back of how he flips. But this is the most unique, at one-time epic action flip. Those leaders are unique because they're recursive leaders. They always can flip. Other than maybe Chewbacca being a pay-for to flip himself out, this was the most unique, I believe, at the time. Most of the leaders were just flip on Pacific period of resources, then you have your leader out. Poe Dameron, I guess, is unique too because technically he can flip onto different vehicles, but that's technically an effect. His epic action is on 5. You can flip him and make him a ground unit. But anyways, for Avar, she states on epic action, if the number of resources you control plus the number of times you use the force this phase is 9 or more, deploy this leader. She's a 4/10, but she then gets a buff on her backside that makes her even more powerful. I can't remember the buff, so we're just gonna pull her up here. While the force is with you, she gains +4 and gains overwhelm. So she becomes on her backside a legitimate 8/10 overwhelm. So she's just that strong. But again, you kind of have to get there by the fact of that you have to combine the number of times you can use the force to the number of resources to get 9. So that was the one problem of when she came out of LOF, is that she was the most restrictive leader of any leader we've had at that time to coming out. Even still to this time, this is the most restrictive leader to actually be able to flip onto the battlefield. But she's the most recursive for how the force wants to work. She literally allows you to use the force, create the force and burn the force, and then using a force base, you can then even generate the force twice per turn and use the force twice per turn. So it gives you a lot of different avenues to really utilize the force because you can generate it from her and generate it from the city. From your base as well. So it's a very interesting leader. I had the showcase of her. I've only tried her out once, and that was really it. So this is what really caught my eye, that, someone got a 4th place at a tournament. I believe this tournament wasn't really small. I think it was 37 people or something. It was a minor tournament, so it wasn't like a big sector qualifier or, a big PQ or anything like that. But still, seeing this deck come out, it means a lot. It just means that people are really taking time to really look at this format. I think this leader can do it. Even though, in my opinion, with the format being aggro heavy, it's kind of interesting because she's just so slow on flipping on being her leader side. But again, you can manipulate that because you do have 2 ways to use the force here. You can go use the force burning it off from the city's force to using the force from burning off of her to get to that quicker up to that pace. So typically by your turn 6, if you can burn the force 3 times, you can flip on turn 6 like any normal turn 6 leader or resource 6 leader. It just matters how you get there and all of that. So we've already talked about Aurra. We are the deck was running the Holy City Force Yellow base. Feel free to use the Crystal Mine Force Yellow base if you like that art better. For the rest of the deck, we have the triple Gunji, triple Jedi Consular. This is a really good one to combo with Aurra because this allows us to start burning that force trigger so we can, of course, use more of that force. So action, tap it, use the force. You may play a unit from hand. It costs 2 less. Just a very good way to start spilling out things a lot cheaper and a lot faster. Triple Jen Ursa of Windplate, either give an experience token to a unit or exhaust a unit. Triple Mina with Restore 1, and then with defeated to close double green and white, and you get to draw a card. Double Grogu with Hidden and an action, heal 2 damage from a unit if you do. Deal that much damage to a unit. Triple Max Rebo Ban, when the regroup phase starts, create a credit token. We can't use this credit token to buff Aurra, by the way. Aurra needs resources and burnt amount of the force. But the credit tokens allow us to drag out our stuff a lot faster out onto the battlefield. So our bigger stuff can be dragged out a little quicker. Triple Captain Typho with Sentinel, and then when this unit is attacked, you may disclose green-white, and if you do, you heal 1 damage from your base. Double 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐄. When defeated, you may use the Force. If you do, put this card to play as a resource. This is just a great way to ramp, especially in a Force strategy, especially considering that we need to ramp in Aurra. Triple the Daughter. When damage is dealt to your base, you may use the Force. If you do, heal 2 damage from your base. That is, every time any form of damage dealt to your base, you may use the Force to heal that 2 damage. Reason why we can use Aurra here when we get to turn 5, when we have the Daughter out, that allows us to manipulate the Force just a little bit more by swinging with a Force unit like herself, gaining the Force, and then using the base Force to then burn it, to then heal. Then we can tap Aurra, gain the Force, and if we're attacked again, use the Daughter to heal. That gives us 2 different distinct uses of the Force. So we can manipulate the Force with the Daughter, of course. Double Qui-Gon Jinn with Ambush, and then when defeated, you may choose a non-leader ground unit. Its owner puts it on top or bottom of their deck. 1 Rey Skywalker, or just Rey as I'm going to call her. Opponent can't take control of this unit. Opponent can't be defeated by enemy card abilities. So it's just a nice 9/9/8 that if we can get it out using like the Max Rebo ban to get it out early onto the battlefield, this just becomes an absolute nuisance for our opponent to deal with, because most control can't kill this thing off the battlefield. So your opponent will literally have to run things into it to kill it off, as well as potentially using like Craving Power or negative effects or anything that can deal damage to Rey, because it can't be defeated by card abilities, so it can just stick around. And finally, Triple Yoda. When play, use the Force. If you do, heal 5 damage to your base, and when you use the Force, you may deal damage to a unit equal to twice the number of units controlled, including this one. So if you play this one, you have another unit out, you deal 4 damage to a unit when you use the Force. And then that is anytime you use the Force, you get that ability. So with Aurra's ability to gain the Force while she's on our front side, and you have ability to burn it again, you can use Yoda's ability again. For our space, we have Triple Blue Leader with Ambush, and then when played, you may pay 2 if you do give this unit and give it 2 experience tokens. As a reminder, when you play this unit, you can chain how you want the effects to go. So if you want this to ambush into something in the ground, you can pay the extra 2, make it basically a 5-cost ambusher with +2/+2 on it. Or you can ambush into space and then move it to the ground to try to protect itself, or make it a little, make it a nuisance down, a 5/5 on the ground. So do be mindful of how you want to chain those effects. 2 Eager Ears score for just for ambush. Triple Liberty, because again, we're in yellow heroic. There's no reason we should not be playing this massive Sentinel, especially with Max Rebo banned, allowing us to reduce the cost. If we can get this out quick and early, this thing's a nuisance to get rid of. 9/7 with Sentinel, and then when played on attack, exhaust an enemy unit and return all upgrades that cost 4 or less to its owner's hand. This is just really great because, first off, yes, it's a Sentinel in space, so it helps us against the Sentinel decks, against space decks, but it is also a nuisance because if our opponent isn't in space or don't have a way to get rid of this thing out of the sky, it sits there and just rests most of your opponent's ground board state, removes shields, removes experience tokens, removes everything from them, and then just spins it back to their hand. Especially if there's shield or experience tokens, it just gets rid of them immediately. It doesn't go back to their hand, so it's a waste of those abilities. And then we just rest it, and it just sits there forever until you want to deal with it. Double Home 1. This isn't, of course, the good Home 1. If we had, of course, Spark legal, we could have played the better Home 1, the one from Spark that allows you to play and then play a heroic unit from your trash to reduce costs, and then all your heroic units get restore 1 on it, which would have been really, really nice. But we got this Home 1. Home 1 at home. Anyways, if your opponent controls 3 or more space units, this costs 3 less to play and has ambush. So it's not really great. It's kind of good there if you happen to be playing into a space strategy because you have a 7/8 that can ambush into something in space. So basically, if you're playing against a space strategy, you can just ambush it into something to kill it off. But again, really right now, space is really just Luke, Vader, Boba, and Piet are really the space-heavy strategies right now. Other than that, well, Poe's running around, but those are really the heavy strategies. So it's good to at least have it in here for that, but there's a chance that if we don't play a real heavy space strategy, we can definitely side these out to put something else in. And then finally, 1 Starhawk with Ambush, and then while playing costs, you pay as many resources rounded up, so basically we can just make everything cheaper on the battlefield. So it's not a bad unit at all to play. I really did like the Starhawk when we first got it revealed. Definitely waited. I think when it got revealed, it was like a $20 card at one point in time. I can't fully remember. I know it was an expensive card. Then it dropped horribly because it was bad. Who the heck's playing a 9-drop? Now, it was randomly being played in certain deck strategies, like Yoda was playing it, and I forget who else was playing it at the time. Someone else was playing it out of Aspect. I know the Yoda played it in Aspect. The Yoda from Twilight was playing it in its deck because it would play green with Data Bolt, and then it would run Vaders in there and other cards that were in Villainy, because then you would reduce the play cost of those cards. So you reduce the play cost of the penalty you were taking. So if you had the Ambush Vader that was 7 cost, that would go up to 9 because you were playing out of Aspect. Then you could reduce that by half, rounded up. So 9 divided by 2 is 5.5. No, it's 4.5. Rounded up would be 5. So you just basically have that as a thing. So pretty cool. It's still a neat card in my opinion. It's a good way to get out some of your high cost stuff out cheap. For events, we're playing 4 out of Aspect Shatterpoint. We will have to pay 6 for this to come out, but we want to use this for its Force stability. When you use the Force, burn the first token. If you do, just defeat a non-leader unit, just anything. It's really nice. 2, Will of the Force. Returning non-leader units to our hand, you may use the Force. If you do, that player discards a random card from your hand. Again, we want to be using the Force. And then double Turbo Laser Salvo. And for some reason, I thought this was a Villainy card. No, it's just a generic green. Choose a Arena, a friendly space unit, deals damage deals damage equal to its power to each enemy unit and an arena. So if we are able to get out Home 1, Starhawk, or Liberty, probably these two, because this is a 9-7 and this is a 7-8. So we want to have the 9 and the 7 out. We can then go Turbo Laser Salvo and try to clean up our opponent's ground board state. So it's just really nice. A good way just to do a good board wipe, especially if we can get out these vehicles at a faster pace, especially if we can get out Home 1 on the 6th turn and then go Turbo Laser Salvo on the 7th turn, which is pretty nice. For upgrades, we're running double Yoda's Lightsaber attached to a non-vehicle unit. When played, use the Force if you do, heal 3 damage from your base. And finally, double Moral Authority attached only to a friendly unique unit. When played, attached unit captures an enemy non-leader unit with less remaining HP than it. For the sideboard, they were playing 1 more Eager Escort, 2 Lieutenant Gorn on attack to control of any credit tokens. So if we sign credit tokens, we do want to side this in so we can deal with those, especially for Tobias, especially for Lando. We want to be able to deal with those credit tokens so they cannot actually get a benefit off of them. We have double Blue Ace with Ambush and on-attack ready to exhaust an enemy unit. Just be very, very cautious when playing this. Usually if it's the start of your turn and it's turn 4 and your opponent has a space unit, you can go Blue Ace, Ambush into it. And if it's the only unit, you could just kill it right off the board and then remove it from being a nuisance. And then you don't have your opponent restanding for the benefit of the on-attack trigger. 2 Depa Blaba for Ambush and Saboteur. Double Kalen Beck. When played, switch top 7 cards of your deck, reveal it, and played, it costs 3 less. And then finally, 1 more Starhawk. That is, of course, our Avar Force Yellow. Let's take it to Carabas and see how well I can play with this deck. Alright folks, it's time to grind against that Aurra Data Vault. We've already played Aurra. We played it against Vader Law Blue. It was not a fun deck to play against. This is actually a really good hand. We will keep. I think we can put away the Mina. And let's put away the Grogu. Because we can go Jedi Consular. Pass. We can put away... Let's put away a Yoda. Because even though this is going to swing this, the Aurra is still... we can reduce the cost, play out the daughter. So yeah, even though the Aurra is going to kill it, we still gain the effect there. So we'll just do this to deal that. That will be, funny enough, a trade there. Not really, actually. We actually drew right into our blocker. Right into our Sentinel. Swing, we create the Force, so there's no point with the Arva. Pass. We may put out the 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐄 this turn. I'll put another Max Rebo away. Craving power to immediately kill that. Ugh. 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐄. Run that into that. Okay, claim the initiative. Triggered to claim. Thanks, I guess. Actually, really thanks. My goodness. Yeah, this is a when defeated trigger. Because we can go this now. Trigger, ambush, kill, target to put on the bottom. While that resets his board state. I mean, technically, that's perfectly fine. We have liberty to play next turn. Claim. I'll put this away. I mean, there's really no... I mean, there is just a point for us to just... I mean, there's no point for us going into Yoda. We may go into a soft pass, but I don't think there's any point. Let's just drop the Liberty and see what he's going to respond with it. Because the Aurra Sing technically can't kill me. Okay, claim. I guess we'll be using Shadow Point to kill that off. Ugh, or getting rid of my guy. Oh well. And you can do about that. Hilarious. We also got the good card against it too. Use the Force, mercs that off the battlefield. We still have the Gen, so we can the Force is with me. Let's just create the Force so we can make Arva an 8/10 on the melee on the battlefield. Deploy Arva. I immediately want Arva to be an 8/10. I don't need her to be anything. We can then go get an experience token. Swing. Yeah, the Force is with me. Alright, so I mean, I deal a little bit of damage. Home one. I mean, we could play it. We're going to put it away. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to figure out something to do with the turbo laser salvo. We can drop this, trigger, heal 5. We do 3 times, so we deal 6 damage to Aurra. We've lost the Force, by the way. The Force is with me because I automatically claim it. So, yeah. Shielded to kill that, claim the initiative. We can put this away. So even if he gives us the minus, it's still not... Oh no, it is enough. We just took 3 damage to our face for nothing. Alright, we're going to drop the home one. This condemn trigger is so annoying to keep on here right now. Claim. I mean, we're not dead, because we'll be able to wipe out 2 guys with turbo laser. We're going to nearly wipe out a bunch of people with turbo laser salvo. We're going to actually have to drop the Yoda here to trigger the heal 5 and then do 6 damage to Ray. Yeah, we're dead. Alright, game 2. Let's drop both of these and put in both of the depots. 4 more. And I think that's good enough. I think that is exactly fine where we can be. Let's ready up. We'll start off the game. I mean, we have Jin that can go into a moral authority or go into a lightsaber. I think I'd rather mulligan. Mulligan into worse stuff. All right. Exactly what I always wanted. Worse things to mulligan into. Right into a Gonk Droid too, which is really not something I want my opponent to be able to do right now. That is not something I need right now my opponent to have access to. Hilarious part is we could just equip this and steal that because of a moral authority, which is kind of hilarious. We can then steal his ability to ramp. And then we can kill the Gonk droid too. Just so that I do not have the Gonk droid continuing to be a nuisance. Claim the initiative. Put the Gunji away. We'll drop Typho. Because here's the thing. If he attacks this with Typho, I immediately just have the ability. Just passing there. I don't see any reason why not just to claim. Depa, trigger, kill, or deal a whole bunch of damage to it. Craving power, tap, heal 2 damage. Done. Deal that much damage. Yeah. Claim. Thing though is Aurra can't flip to kill the can't flip and kill my Grogu here. Although I can. That's a weird thing he didn't flip there. Gonna go to Starhawk. I'll just attack. Flip, kill, get back his mercenary. Qui-Gon, trigger, kill. Using Dogfight, then he's gonna he gets the resource there, which isn't too bad. Interesting little play there, in my opinion. All right, what do we want to do? Let's soft pass. I want to see what he does. Because we have the ability to bounce a guy and then pitch a random card out of his hand. Because Aurra right now feels like she's playing in a control matchup. So I mean, yeah, he's going to deck me out. But now I can flip my leader. I have an 8-10 leader now on the board. Cantwell to immediately rest my guy. Okay. Do we burn this, or do we just play the Liberty? Because technically we could go Yoda. We could technically go Mina. I mean, that's not enough to kill it, though. I think, honestly, I'm just going to do this. Force him to actually replay it. Oh, I got rid of the Lawbringer. That's pretty nice. Meaning that he would have to replay it on his turn, forcing him to actually play another body. The Ray is actually going to be pretty nice here because that's a 9/9 that he actually can't physically deal with. I think I'm fine where I am with this state. Okay. Swing, gain the force. A Deidre, kill, and then I get to reveal. I don't want to reveal I have the, why aren't you going after the Arba? Yeah, that's so weird. We're going to kill off the spy. We're going to play the Ray. Now, deal with that. Because you can't physically kill it with any one of your control cards. Because of can't be killed by enemy card effects and can't be taken control of. So, no glory in the results does not work against the Ray. That does. If I just didn't have this to immediately kill it off. Now, I'm out of the force, by the way, because of that. Oh, that sucks to lose the -6. All right. Give an experience token. Give it to Ray. Make it so that Ray at least does 4 damage. You know, Kadim is also one of those cards I'm like, I don't know if I like it in this format. I mean, I think it's neat, but I mean, that's really all he could do against the Ray, because he has to physically damage Ray. Cantwell. to rest the Ray, even though you got it condemned, which is kind of interesting to me. But that won't matter. Trigger, heal, murder. Create the force, just so I have it. Pass. Pass. Yeah, I'm fine with where we got. Yep, Lost and Forgotten on the Yoda. Swing, no effect. He's just going to disclose here, but again, he still takes damage from this. Craving power to put 5 damage, bounce that back to the hand, trigger the use the force to discard a random card. We could then use Aurra to gain the force if absolutely need be. We can just punch and punch. We can drop a Jedi Consular. We can drop Max Rebo's Band. And then we can just go done. Deidre to ambush. Kill off the Ray finally. We get a +3 here. We'll have the Mina kill the spy. We haven't even dropped anything. Yeah, okie dokie. So, we're going to go second. But we want to drag a Beck in. I'm honestly thinking about dropping both Eager Escorts and dragging in 2 Becks. I mean, the most he's got in space is literally just the Cantwells and the Lawbringers. That an Eager Escort isn't going to kill that. I'll keep in the blue leader because we can actually ambush into the ground, which is very, very strong for us. So we're going to bring in the Becks to allow us to get a little bit more playability in the late game. Especially having that on the ground is really nice. Yeah, we have the Mina. I don't know what we would resource. I actually want to keep the Ray in this matchup because it's such a nuisance for him to try to get rid of because he'd have to actually use Craving Power just to kill it off. Guess we're going to keep. We have the ability to use the Force, which is so nice to do that. Guess I'm going to go these two. I really don't want to get rid of the Typho, but I like to keep this for it. And he just simply... I don't know why he just didn't claim. We're going to make the Force just to be absolutely certain. That's pretty nice to automatically see the band as our turn 3 play. GG's. No plays. Ugh. Hate to see it, folks. Hate to see it. Wish he had played it out. I think he could have won it, but that is a win for us. Well, folks, we won against Aurra Data Vaults. I think, honestly, if I was my opponent, I would have rather had seen him play out game 3. I think the problem was I bet 100% a lot of his cards in his hand were very much hitting the 5, 6 level, and I had Max Rebo now in hand, so I was able to drop Max Rebo that turn. If he dropped something on... If he dropped anything, I could have turn 4, bounce it back to his hand and discard 1. Honestly, sometimes, folks, yeah, you may not see the plays in your hand. Try to play it out a little bit. See if you can't stabilize. Aurra can definitely hit and go pretty hard in the late game because you'd be able to do a lot of things where I'm going to lose. If I can lose out all my power, my steam in the late game, you can basically win it out by decking me out before I deck out and all of that. But yeah, the problem was... I was having the steam there. I was going to be able to attack for 2. I was going to have Max Rebo out, meaning I'm getting credit tokens. I had the ability to bounce something back for 4. So as long as I'm able to get something going, I have the Qui-Gon set up for a couple of turns later. So yeah, nonetheless, it was a good game. Game 1 and Game 2 definitely were really good games for Avar, for Avar. Here, and then game 3, my opponent just scooped because it looks like they didn't really have anything to play. Even though, in my opinion, play it out. See if you can actually stabilize in the board game. I've actually had some games where I'm like, early game, like, it just kind of sucks. Late game, I somehow stabilize and able to win it. It has happened. It has happened. That's one reason I've always been so iffy about Data Vault style decks, because especially with 60 cards, it sometimes feels like you don't see what you need to see. Even with a mulligan, even with multiple turns, it always just kind of hurts. But nonetheless, guys, the deck's pretty fun. It's a really cool deck. I'm glad to see the leader's got some more playability in this set. It's pretty fun. It's not the best leader out there. It's definitely, I still think, underpowered to the aggro format. But hey, if you're looking for something to play that isn't just aggro, give it a try. I've always enjoyed the Force leaders. And this one doesn't have the problem that other Force leaders have, where you can choke point those leaders by choking out their Force units so they can't generate the Force and then use their cards utilizing the Force. Aurra's very easy. She just makes the Force. Why it really sucks on how she comes out onto the battlefield, and you have to get kind of lucky to sometimes see her out on turn 6, on your 6th resource turn. She's still really good, guys. I really do enjoy Avar. I think she's just a fun leader. But nonetheless, guys, you let me know your thoughts down in the comments on the gameplay, on the deck. And while you guys are commenting, do make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you know if my videos go live for you. I will see you here next time on Mountain Dragons TCG.